Imagine walking into the West Wing of the White House. The air is heavy. You can feel the tension in every step of the security guards, the nervous tapping of reporters, the whispers between aides, who already sense this meeting will not go well. Cameras are ready, lights are on, and at the center of it all stands Donald Trump, next to the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. What happens next becomes one of the most uncomfortable public meetings of the year. Trump begins with one of his trademark surprises. Out of nowhere, he brings up a proposal that sounds like something from a late-night talk show sketch. He says he has been considering building a tunnel between Russia and Alaska. He turns to Zelenskyy, smirking, and asks, "What do you think about that plan?" Zelenskyy, visibly confused and irritated, simply answers, "I am not happy with that." The response is calm, but sharp, a quiet rejection. Trump chuckles and adds, "I did not think you would like it. It is meant to be a joke," but no one laughs. The moment reveals a deeper truth. This is not a diplomatic exchange. It is a man seeking attention, not solutions. Then a Ukrainian reporter stands up and asks a serious question. "Mr. President, have you considered providing Ukraine with Tomahawk or similar missiles? Weren't you supposed to do that before your last call with Vladimir Putin?" The question hits a nerve. Trump's smile disappears. He raises his voice. "Did he tell you to say that? Did Zelenskyyy tell you to say that?" His tone is accusatory, defensive, and dismissive all at once. He turns a journalist's question into a personal attack. The room stiffens. Zelenskyy looks down for a moment, then straight ahead, refusing to engage. When a Fox News correspondent, Peter Doocy, asks Trump who he thinks is doing a better job negotiating peace, Zelenskyyy or Putin, Trump does something no American president has ever done in public. He says both are doing a great job. Think about that. The leader defending his country from invasion, and the man who launched that invasion, treated as equals. Trump even adds that the real problem is the bad blood between them, as if this were a minor disagreement instead of a war. The contradictions do not stop there. Trump boasts that he was planning to impose sanctions on Russia and send weapons to Ukraine. Then he admits that after talking to Putin, he decided not to do either. The implication is chilling. A phone call from Moscow can change United States foreign policy. He then shifts his attention back to Zelenskyy. But instead of discussing war or peace, he mocks his appearance. "I think you are wearing a beautiful jacket," Trump says, smiling for the cameras. "Look at that jacket, everyone." It sounds friendly, but it is meant to humiliate. He is reminding Zelenskyy that in this room, he controls the tone. The Ukrainian president, who has spent years in military fatigues as a symbol of resistance, is reduced to a fashion prop. The press tries again. A reporter asks if Trump worries that Putin is playing for time. Trump laughs and says, "I have been played all my life by the best of them." He insists that he can outsmart anyone, including Putin. He repeats that he has made 8 great deals and is about to make a 9th. It is classic Trump, boasting, deflecting, selling himself instead of explaining policy. Then comes one of the most disturbing moments. Trump declares that Putin should have won the war in a week. He blames the delay on the weather and luck, then quickly changes direction and says he is actually the reason Ukraine survived, because he gave them Javelin missiles. He repeats the line over and over. Obama gave them sheets. I gave them javelins. He takes credit for everything, even for what others did long after he left office. His rambling continues. When asked about Venezuela's leader, Nicolas Maduro, Trump suddenly starts cursing, saying he doesn't want to mess around with the United States. He laughs, expecting applause. Instead, the room stays quiet. The vulgarity, the aggression, the total lack of decorum, it all feels like a man who no longer distinguishes between a rally and a state meeting. Then he shifts again, this time attacking Democrats. He says they are mentally damaged and want to destroy health care to give money to illegal immigrants. He offers no facts, no evidence, just raw rage. It is a stream of consciousness, a mix of paranoia and self-promotion. Throughout this circus, Zelenskyy stays calm. When a far-right propagandist from Lindell TV tries to corner him with a loaded question asking if Ukraine will withdraw from NATO to make Trump look good, Zelenskyy answers like a diplomat. He says Ukraine needs a real ceasefire, security guarantees, and genuine dialogue. His voice is steady. His restraint is powerful. He does not trade insults. He stays focused on his mission, defending his country. The contrast between the two men could not be greater. On one side, a leader under siege, balancing diplomacy and survival. On the other, a man obsessed with ego, image, and applause. The cameras capture every grimace, every interruption, every attempt by Trump to dominate the stage. Behind the scenes, analysts point out something darker. The so-called tunnel between Russia and Alaska was not just a passing joke. Russian officials have floated similar proposals for years, using them to signal possible cooperation with Washington and to undermine sanctions. Trump's casual mention of it in front of Zelensky fits a pattern softening his rhetoric toward Moscow whenever pressure rises. Even the claim that both Putin and Zelensky are doing great serves a purpose. It reframes invasion as negotiation, aggressor and victim as equal players. It is a rhetorical trick designed to make Putin look reasonable and Ukraine appear stubborn. When Trump mocks Zelensky's jacket, he is not joking. It is psychological dominance. It tells the world that Ukraine's president must perform gratitude to keep U.S. support. The insult about clothing carries the same weight as the threats about weapons. Both send the same message. Loyalty is conditional. His refusal to impose sanctions after speaking to Putin raises even deeper concerns. It hints at direct influence, an American president changing policy after a single conversation with a foreign autocrat. Every intelligence officer watching that exchange sees what it means. This is not about diplomacy. It is about control. Then, there is the constant need for credit. Trump insists he alone saved Ukraine. He alone gave them weapons. He alone prevented catastrophe. It is narcissism disguised as patriotism. He cannot imagine a world where anyone else shares the spotlight. He praises Viktor Orban of Hungary, a man known for undermining democratic norms and cozying up to Moscow. He calls him a great leader. He says Orban has done a very good job. For Zelensky sitting next to him, it is like watching your ally praise your enemy's friend. Even Trump's crude comment about Maduro shows how he views leadership as domination, not cooperation. He thinks diplomacy is a show of power, not patience. He believes strength is about volume, not vision. As the press conference drags on, Trump begins to unravel further. His voice rises, his hands wave more aggressively, and his answers start to loop back on themselves. "We were stupid, but we are not stupid anymore," he declares. The words sound like self-parody. By the time the meeting ends, the damage is done. International headlines describe it as chaotic, bizarre, deeply concerning. European leaders quietly express alarm. Ukrainian officials later tell journalists that the meeting felt like a test, not a discussion. One aide reportedly said, "It was like being on a reality show set, not in a government building." The White House communications team tries to control the fallout. They call it a productive exchange. But their response only deepens the confusion. When a reporter later asks whether the United States plans to meet Putin in Hungary alongside Viktor Orban, one of Trump's spokespeople jokes, "Your mom did." Another chimes in, "Your mom gave me the plans." The joke spreads online, turning what should have been a serious diplomatic question into internet mockery. Meanwhile, Kremlin envoys quietly celebrate. According to several sources, Russian representatives have been meeting with sympathetic American lawmakers, pitching the so-called Putin-Trump tunnel project as a new era of cooperation. It is the perfect symbol of this moment, a literal connection between Washington and Moscow, built on ego, greed, and denial. Zelensky leaves the White House that evening without fanfare. He does not stop for interviews. He boards his motorcade in silence. His aides say later that he was deeply disappointed. In private, Ukrainian diplomats admit they no longer know where Washington stands. The promises of support seem to shift daily, depending on Trump's mood or whoever last spoke to him. But Zelenskyy's public statement is measured. He says he still believes in partnership, in dialogue, in peace. It is the voice of a man who cannot afford to show despair, even when surrounded by chaos. For Trump, the aftermath is predictable. He takes to social media, boasting that he handled the meeting brilliantly. He claims he is the only person who can make peace between Russia and Ukraine. He says the media twisted his words, even though the entire press conference was broadcast live. The truth is plain. What happened in that room was not diplomacy. It was performance. It was ego masquerading as leadership. It was a president who could not stay calm under pressure. who lashed out at allies and praised aggressors, who turned the gravity of war into a stage for applause. If you watched it, you could feel the second-hand embarrassment. The world saw it too.